Penn State is coming off a very successful 2024 college football season that has made the college football playoff, racked up a couple wins, and, well, they're right back to where Penn State football should be. But what is this outlook of having to replace Abdul Carter and Tyler Warren of a very successful team last year? Let's get into it. Drew Aller unexpectedly came back last year. A lot of people thought last year would be Drew Aller's last year at Penn State, as NFL scouts loved him, and there's a real shot that he could have went number 1 overall over Cam Ward, but he declares to come back to Penn State, and it just shows that Penn State is reloading. They got an older roster coming back, and a lot of guys that could have went pro and been fairly highly drafted came back for Penn State for one thing and one thing in mind, and that's a national championship. Katron Allen and Nick Singleton both came back. Both were highly regarded in the NFL draft circles, and both came back. To get one of them back is a huge win for Penn State, but to get both back, it's just something that you really don't see in today's college football. One guy transfer out or another guy leaves, another guy steps in to be a full-time back. But Nick Singleton and Katron Allen were really driving forces for Penn State's success last year. While, yes, they had the freak of nature that was Tyler Warren at tight end, who has now gone on to the NFL, but these two, this stable of running backs in the backfield is really what is driving Penn State in this new era, in this expanded college football era. And there's just a big thing about having two running backs that when one comes off the field, the defense can't relax. A lot of places you see a Nick Singleton type come off the field, you can kind of take a deep breath, but not with Penn State. Nick Singleton comes off the field, Katron Allen's coming on. Katron Allen goes off the field, Nick Singleton's running right back onto the field. As previously mentioned, Tyler Warren has gone on to the NFL as he was drafted in the first round by the Indianapolis Colts. So that leaves a hole at tight end, but maybe not. Luke Reynolds, backup last year. He's got a lot of hype from his coaching staff and just Penn State fans in general. He showed flashes last year in the limited reps or touches that he did get. While no one can replace Tyler Warren, Luke Reynolds is a good starting caliber tight end. The Penn State Nittany Lions also have to replace Abdul Carter, and they went out and got a Mary Campbell in the transfer portal from UNC. In his first 4 year, Amari had 6.5 sacks. So, is it disruptive and as athletically gifted as an Abdul Carter? No, because no other human is. But Amari Campbell can slide in and be as disruptive, because I think this Penn State is defense. They brought a lot back, and as a unit, they could honestly take a step forward. And a big part of that is because they brought in defensive coordinator Jim Knowles from Ohio State. Jim Knowles has been a staple in college football. Longtime defensive coordinator for Oklahoma State, then made the jump to Ohio State. Now he's at Penn State. He leaves the national champions because they couldn't come to a contract agreement. They wouldn't even let him celebrate at the parade for the national championship. So he jumped ship to Penn State. And if you don't think that he's going to have a chip on his shoulder, well, you're mistaken. They also got Tony Rojas coming back for his sophomore year. 3 interceptions at linebacker position. That's nothing to scoff at. This guy is a playmaker at the linebacker position. And Penn State has an argument for the best linebacker unit in college football this year. Another big part of that is because they got Dominic DeLuca, who, again, 3 interceptions at the linebacker spot. Is going to be a junior. Just, there's something about these Penn State Nittany Lion linebackers that are just ball hawks. It's just in their nature. It is part of that culture at Penn State of, we're going to get the ball, whether that be forced fumbles, fumble recoveries, or interceptions. This is just a defense and a football program that just prides itself on getting the ball back to the offense. And the guy that's expected to just take another monster leap as a junior is Dennis Sutton. Guy had 8.5 sacks last year, 2 forced fumbles, and even an interception from that edge position. Now, yes, you make the argument, oh, no, Abdul Carter. A lot of those could have been because of Abdul Carter. No, this guy's a stud. You got Amari Campbell on the opposite side of him now, Dennis Sutton on the other side. This front seven realistically should just cause havoc all college football season. If you're a Penn State fan, you should have more excitement for this team than maybe any other team under the James Franklin era. The problem with Penn State in the James Franklin era is they win games they should, but they can't seem to beat the Ohio States, Michigans, and now the Oregons, with them being in the Big Ten Conference. Under James Franklin versus AP top 5 teams, James Franklin and Penn State are 1-16 in his tenure there. That is including 13 straight losses. If you made it this far in the video, I just want to say thank you. But it just goes to show, I am super high on this Penn State team, but they got to get over the hump. And the thing with Penn State, there's only 2 games on their schedule that if you're a Penn State fan or honestly just a college football fan, you're really looking at to determine their season. It's that home game against Oregon, and then it's when they travel to the Shoe to take on Ohio State November 1st. Now, there's a good chance that Oregon game will be the whiteout. It's at 7:30 at night. Oregon's having to travel all the way to Beaver Stadium. And honestly, I think Oregon will be a good team. Dan Lanning's a hell of a coach. I think Penn State wins that game. I think this is the year that they finally defeat that top-ranked opponent. Now, will Oregon be top 5 at that time to classify that AP record that we discussed earlier where James Franklin is 1-16 with 13 straight losses? Who knows? But if you win that game and you're a Penn State fan, you're riding high. Because there's really no other games. Their non-conferences, honestly, is quite weak. Nevada, FIU, Villanova, and then you got the Oregon game. You go to UCLA, that could be tricky because of the travel to Pasadena. You take on Northwestern, who was sneaky solid last year, and with Preston Stone transferring there, they could do something, you know. You go to Iowa, that's always a hard-hitting, tricky game. It's Iowa football. And then you got Ohio State, and that's really the 2 games that really matter with Oregon and Ohio State. You take on Indiana the next week. Is Indiana going to be as good as they were last year? Who knows? They seem to have a good culture over there, though. Then you get Michigan State, Nebraska, and they're at Rutgers to end it. But once again, if you're Penn State, there's only 2 games on your schedule that you're circling, to be quite honest. Oregon and Ohio State, you got to win those games. If you're going to do it, it's going to be this year with this roster. You got a veteran-led roster returning. A lot of guys returned from a team that made the college football playoff last year and was super close to making a national championship game. If James Franklin's going to do it and if this Penn State program is going to do it, it has to be this upcoming 2025 football season. I do think Penn State makes the college football playoff again. I do think they make the Big Ten championship game again. I just don't think they'd win the Big Ten championship again, similar to last year. I think Ohio State gets it this year. A lot of people honestly might not remember. Ohio State didn't win the Big Ten championship last year. It was Oregon in their very first year in the conference. I think Ohio State gets back to the Big Ten title game, and I think they do win it, beating Penn State. I do think Penn State has a deep playoff run, though. I could see them getting to that Final Four right before National Championship weekend, but I just can't see them making the National Championship game this year. While this roster is loaded, I just think they're a weapon or 2 away. I still worry about Penn State's receiver room, and it just seems to be a common theme under James Franklin where they just don't seem to have the weapons in that receiver room. As always, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Let me know down in the comments. What do you think Penn State's final record is this year, and do you think they get back to the Big Ten championship game?